Okay, everyone, it is the 2nd of June, 2016. So, I was going to make a video yesterday, didn't manage to get to it, unfortunately. It is the beginning of a new month. That means it's time to check in on my goals, check in on how I've been doing for the past month. So, this month, obviously, my focus has been bulking up, A, following that crazy awesome bulking plan, and B, focusing on writing my book. So, how have I been doing the last month? Well, the bulk has been doing super awesome. It's slowed down a little bit because I've been a little bit lazy about my diet, but other than that, it's been doing great. I've swapped up some stuff, focusing a little bit more on hip-oriented exercises than quad-oriented exercises, which has helped because I have a bit of a quad injury. So, that's actually allowed my legs a lot more time to recover, and that's been super helpful as well. So, I am currently sitting, I just weighed myself today, a little over 225, which means I'm officially up 30 pounds from where I started, and it's been about a month and a half. So, that is my 1.5 month transformation. Second thing is, of course, the book. The book is coming along pretty well. It's pretty near completion. I would say it's, maybe 15 or 20% of it to go. And it has slowed down a little bit this month, simply because I've had a lot of stuff going on this month. I had a couple weddings and all that. So it's been a little bit slower this month in terms of work on that, but I have been working at that regularly, and I've gotten quite a bit of work done. So somewhat, moderate successes for both. Nothing, not perfect, but not bad either, certainly. So, to jump right into it, I'm continuing on with user questions. I sent out an email to my mailing list a couple days ago, and I, got a lot of great responses, a lot of great questions to cover here. So I'm going to go ahead and answer as many of those as I can, put in about 10 minutes or so, and then, if I have to split this up and, do another video tomorrow, we'll do that too. So, alright, getting started. At 4JohnC on Twitter says, deadlifts with a belt on, are you able to do this, and if so, how the hell? So, I actually talked to them a little bit more after that to kind of clarify, what the question was and everything. Basically, they were kind of asking, what is the point of the belt during a deadlift? So, certain people may not like belts, they may not, find them very comfortable. And a lot of people, there's this myth also that belts decrease abdominal activation. That's actually not true, because typically the way the belt works is having the belt there actually cues your body to brace a little bit tighter, to, cues those abs to, flex a little bit, more strongly. And that is what, provides extra abdominal pressure, which supports your spine and which allows you to lift more weight. So it's not actually weakening your core to use a belt. That's a common, misconception. Is it still a good idea to, to train without a belt sometimes? Yeah, sure. It's a, it's a slightly different exercise, and there's no reason not to, put a little bit of variation into your, your workouts every now and then. But if you are looking to get strong, typically a belt is going to be the best option. And for some people, it's going to help a little bit more than other people. For example, with my deadlift, I get maybe 50 pounds out of my belt or so. Some people might get less, some people might get more. That's all just, individual, individual stuff. Next question, on Facebook, Bethany asks, where should I start if I'm fat and out of shape? This is obviously a pretty, this is a pretty sensitive topic. And the main thing is you've just got to start increasing your activity level. If you're looking to lose weight, and you don't have to, not everyone has to lose weight. Some people, they just need to get stronger. They just need to be able to move better. If you're looking to lose weight, first of all, I don't recommend trying to start a diet and an exercise plan at the same time. That's going to be disaster, because that's way too many things you're trying to control all at once. Pick one or the other, stick with it for a few months. Once you're sure that you can do that, then you can add in the other one. Typically, I recommend starting with exercise and then adding in diet after 2 to 3 months. But that's up to you, however you want to do it. And the main thing for beginners is focusing on building a habit. Most people, about 3 to 4 days a week is kind of about what they can manage when it comes to working out. Maybe, 2 days, maybe 5 days if they're, a little bit enthusiastic. But the main thing I recommend is pace yourself. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't try and do anything crazy. Don't burn yourself out. Because what you're trying to do here is you're trying to develop a habit. And developing a habit, it's not a good idea to push yourself really hard, because then you're gonna burn out. And it's extremely crucial at that first part. When you're just getting started, take it easy. You don't need to do anything crazy. Just focus on getting in. Just focus on doing some exercise. Even if it's as little as 15 minutes a day, 3 or 4 days a week, that's something. Do something. Even if you have to start walking before you can start running, even if you have to use weight machines and, really light weights, whatever, just do it. And, once you can do it, once you can do that baseline level, then you start adding on, then you start progressing upwards. Don't put the cart before the horse. Don't try and start off with too much. Just start off easy and, make it harder from there. And that's really all I can say. That's the best tips to get started. And of course, you do want to do a combination of cardio and weight training. You don't want to just do the same thing over and over again, because that's going to get boring and it's not going to be very effective. All right. Next question. Chaz on Facebook asks. He says, I read an article and the guy was like, you don't need motivation, you just need more caffeine. So my question is, how do you get motivated to actually go to the gym? And are pre-workout drinks and supplements any good? All right, so that's two questions in there. One is, what is the importance of caffeine / pre-workouts? And the other one is, how do you get into the gym? So when it comes to caffeine / pre-workouts, they certainly work. They will certainly help. But they're going to be more effective, the less caffeine that you get. We know it's, you build a tolerance to caffeine. And the problem is that people pitch these pre-workout supplements as a daily thing. It's a routine. You do that before every workout. The problem is that's not a good idea, because caffeine only actually works as a performance enhancer, as a supplement, if you're not using it very much. So if it's a rare occurrence. So it's typically not a good idea to ever get into the practice of using it, because then it just becomes a necessity, just to maintain that same level. Whereas what you can do is, if you don't use it at all, and then you're not really a huge caffeine drinker, then you can use it when you really need it. Like if you've got a really bad day, or if you've got some kind of competition coming up, or just for some reason you need to do better on one day than any other. So I don't really use a pre-workout. I don't recommend them. I mean, if you really need a little bit of a pick-me-up, a cup of coffee or a cup of tea should be good for you. Most of these pre-workout supplements, I mean, there used to be some crazy stuff in them. Nowadays, it's mostly just a bunch of caffeine and, just to get you pumped up. The second question there is, how do you get motivated to actually go to the gym? There's a lot of factors that go into your motivation to go to the gym. If you've got a trainer or someone, a friend, a workout buddy, someone who's going to, motivate you to go there, you have that social pressure. If your gym is close to your house or to your work, it's a lot easier to go to than if it's further away. If you, for example, in my case, I train for, specific goals. I train for specific competitions. So I have to. I've got to, keep training. I do highly recommend that you find some kind of, stretch goal like that, whether it be a race or a competition or something like that, because it gives you something to train for. But the main thing is focusing, kind of to go back to Bethany's question, is to focus on building a habit. And a lot of people don't focus on building that habit. Sometimes, they just kind of do these weird, sporadic on and off things, and that's not ideal. Ideally, even if it's something light, even if it's something quick, even if it's not, like a long, solid, sweaty workout, doing something regularly is better than doing nothing at all. And doing something regularly is better than doing any, no matter how hard you do it, it's better than doing something really intermittently. So yeah, just focus on building that habit. Focus on getting in. There's a reason that apps, gamify us by, trying to get us to come in every day, because that builds that habit, and then we keep going back to it. And that makes it way easier. Typically, after about 2 to 3 months, people kind of hit a wall where it's not working out for them as well. And as long as you can get over that and you can keep building that habit, past that kind of that sticking point, then it gets a lot easier to maintain after that. So hopefully that helps. Next question is from Frank via email. He asks, probably a stupid question, but I'm in decent shape and exercise regularly. I'm not really carrying much body fat, but there's a little stubborn bit under my chin that won't seem to leave me. I'm 33 years old. First of all, it's not a stupid question. No questions are stupid questions. The stupid thing is not asking a question, obviously. So, fat under the chin. Unfortunately, there's not really much you can do about that. So there was this old school myth of what's called spot reduction, with the idea being that you could work out certain areas of your body and that would cause you to lose fat in that area. So that's why you did a crap ton of crunches to get abs, or you thought if you worked out whatever, it would take fat away from that area. Unfortunately, that's not really the way your body does things. Your body just sort of stores fat wherever, all over the body, and that's based on kind of, that's unique from person to person. That's why people have different body shapes, because, the body just tends to store that in different places. So, if you've got a little bit of excess under the chin, that just means, you got to lose a little bit of body weight all over, unfortunately. And again, that can be tough. That may not be, the thing that you want to hear. But, just focus on improving your fitness, focus on, just improving your exercise. And, it may happen, it may not. I can't promise that you're going to be able to reach the aesthetic goal that you want, because unfortunately, again, everyone's different. Everyone loses weight a little bit differently too. And so everyone kind of wants to look like that guy who's got, super ripped shoulders or, super, good abs, but you can't pick and choose. Your body just kind of does this the way your body does this, and, no matter what anybody else's body looks like. I wouldn't, I do tell people not to kind of build these kinds of goals, not to kind of build these goals where you are relying heavily on someone else's image of fitness to determine what you should look like. Just try and, find fitness on your own terms, and hopefully that means that, you can lose a little bit of weight in the chin area. Maybe not, unfortunately. Next question, Andy. Andy says, I'm coming back from a broken tibia fibula, need some help. This happened about 1.5 years ago, and it was surgically repaired with a rod and screws. My deadlift didn't suffer too much, but I've had to start back at the bar, 45 pounds on the squat. I'm now up to squats at my body weight, around 175 pounds or 5 times 5. My weak leg is still lagging behind the good one. It's about 1.5 inches smaller than the good leg. I know I can do some single leg work to help even things out. What I really want is to ensure that I improve the motor improvement on my big lifts. What exercises will really help getting things firing on all cylinders? Again, looking forward to hearing from you. So, you are already spot on in terms of single leg work, lunges, step ups, that sort of stuff will all help. Another thing is that, I'm going to talk about your squat form right now here. So, a lot of people think that squat form, every squat has to look the exact same, every squat has to be perfect. The interesting thing is that that's not the case. Everyone's physiology is different. Everyone's hips are built differently. Everyone's knees are built differently. Everyone's ankles are built differently. So, people have to squat differently. That's just, how it is. And sometimes even tiny little changes in your form can unlock sort of, your best squat. There was a really good one about how, there's a story about how a trainer, a friend of mine, actually discovered, he was just messing around. He was just kind of giving all these weird cues to see what would help with his client. And he discovered that when he told her to actually clench her teeth, that improved her squat. Because clenching the teeth actually improved her neck bracing position. And then that, went all the way down the torso. And that, basically, made everything just, look beautiful all of a sudden. So what I would recommend is fiddle around with your squat, see what you can do. Obviously, your limb length has changed. That sucks. That's a huge change. What you could do is you could even try putting, a 5 or 10 pound plate underneath that foot and, see if that helps too. You don't have to squat the exact same way as everyone else, try and mess around with different form stuff until you find something that kind of fits your new, your new form a little bit better. And I would recommend that would be, probably super helpful in terms of, improving that squat. That's something that a lot of people don't really realize they can do. You can try things with foot position, you can try things with hand position, you can try things with bar position, you can try things with, neck bracing. There's all sorts of different options. So mess around with a lot of that stuff, see what you can find out. All right, we're going to do one more question. This one is Nick. Nick over email asks, what are the main reasons for and against doing cardio while trying to build muscle? Which way is better to do or not to do? All right, so the for reason, when you have better cardio, it is actually easier to build muscle because you have more endurance, and that means you can do more reps. And when you can do more reps, that means more muscle built. It also means better recovery in between sets. So acutely, if I'm doing sets of 12 or whatever, most of my recovery is coming from the fast energy systems. But the thing is that cardio, which improves our slow energy systems, well, it's not like you're doing, if you say you're doing 3 sets of 12 in a row, it's not like you're doing those 3 sets all in a row without any rest. What's happening is in those rest times between your sets, your slower cardio system is taking over and doing more of the work. So having better cardio means you recover quicker between sets, which means you can do more sets, or you can do your sets quicker over time, and that is a huge benefit. Now the question, in terms of, against. So against, if you're doing a crap ton of cardio, that's absolutely going to have an impact on, everything else. If you're running for, longer than 30, 45 minutes, an hour at a time, that's certainly going to have an impact on, the rest of your training. Now at the same time, that impact can be partially alleviated by simply eating more calories. A huge problem that a lot of people have is that they add a crap ton of cardio, and then because they're burning a lot more calories, they're not taking in more calories, and that means that it's much harder for them to gain weight, or it's much harder for them to build muscle. So eat more calories. If you're trying to just improve your cardiovascular health, you're not trying to lose weight, you do want to eat more calories to balance that out. Another thing is that running seems to be have more of an impact than any other cardio format. That's because there's a lot of impact forces where you're hitting the ground over and over again with your feet. So that worsens your recovery. That means more possibility for injury. And it is best to avoid doing a ton of running if you're doing a lot of other stuff, which luckily there's plenty of other cardio methods we can do. You can do a walk with a really high incline. You can put on a weight vest while you're doing that walk. You can do a rower. You can do a bicycle. You can do sled drags. You can do circuits. I don't approve of circuits as much for in terms of strictly for cardio, but they can work as well. Battle ropes. There's so many other ways that have a much less impact on the body, and those are all kind of the the better way to go in terms of improving your cardiovascular health. Now, I would say also stick to 15 to 20 minute sessions at a time. Keep it a little bit shorter than kind of the 30 to 45 minutes you often see a lot with running or other other kind of cardio based programs. Basically stick to keeping it a little bit shorter, just to sort of again minimize calories burned, make sure you're not getting any kind of interference effect, and try not to do a ton of cardio on the same day that you're doing a ton of lifting. Make sure that the the recovery isn't interfering with that. That's kind of that's kind of the quick overview of that. So those are our questions for today. We still have a few more questions to go through tomorrow. So I've got one more for the time being. And as always, like, comment, share. Give me more ideas. What do you want to hear from me next time? And have a good night.